going. And sorry, everybody, we're not quite ready, but we're just gonna go with it because I pushed the button. So I'm trying to set up the
Here, Sammy, come here.
tripod. So I don't know, Grandma, if you want to just tell them about your week real quick or something.
Okay, I'll tell them about Sammy real quick.
Okay.
Am I on film?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm just trying to. It's a little wobbly, but
Okay. Well, I got Sammy up here so you could all say goodbye to him. I'm not taking him. Debbie or Larry is going to take him in the morning, and we're going to put him down. And I'm sad to do that, but it's just time. He's 16 years old now. Mark and Shanna had him originally, gave him to Lori, and then I got him after Grandpa died. And I've had him 6 years, and he's been a wonderful little companion. He helped me through the death of my dear husband, your father, your grandfather. Anyway, now he's incontinent, and I cannot see the puddles, so I step in them and track them all over. And I can't see them on the rug unless I'm barefoot and step in them. And I'm afraid my whole house is starting to smell like you know what. So I think it's time that he goes away. So say bye. Here, say bye. Bye, everybody. Isn't he so cute? It's hard to do this. I just feel guilty because he still has a lot of energy, you know, and hoppy bops around and everything, but I just feel like I can't handle it anymore. So he's going to go down tomorrow, 9:30 in the morning. Okay, there you go. He'll probably bother us to be let out. It'll be the last time he bothers us. Okay, so tonight I'm talking about my third child, who is Debbie. I almost said Holly, because I was looking at Holly. Anyway, it's 3 years after Lori was born, in 55, I had Debbie, April 26, 1958. She was an adorable little baby and very placid and calm, which made it nice for me. She was an easy child, didn't fuss around or cry. I could lay her in bed at night and she'd just lay there and look around and go to sleep, which Mark and Lori, I had them trained that they had to be patted or rocked or something to go to sleep. So I finally caught on the third one. You know how to have a perfect child, don't you? You have 3 and throw the first 2 away. Anyway, she was a cute little toddler. And one day when we still lived in Burley, she got a nosebleed. And it was a bad nosebleed, and it went on for, I couldn't stop it. And after 2 or 3 hours of it bleeding, I took her to the hospital emergency room, and they packed her nose with packing and put a big tape across her face. I've marked a picture in the album with her with that tape if you want to put it in the album. Anyway, that was her first big adventure. The next one, Jenny was born 13 months later, so 14. So they were good friends. But anyway, when she was about 3.5 or 4 one day, she came out in the living room where I was and said, "Mama, you need to take me to the drugstore." Did I tell that story? Okay. And I said, "The drugstore, why?" I didn't know she even knew what a drugstore was. And she says, "Well, I looked in the mirror and I need a new face. I want you to buy me a new face. This one is ugly." She was a cute little girl. Where she got that, I don't know. So she was about 4 probably when she did that. And then Debbie loved to be in the bathtub and take baths, and so she would sit in the bathtub and compose music. She would sing songs, make up songs, long songs. They went on and on songs. And So she was creative right from the beginning with everything she did. She did well in school. Um, she liked her teacher and everything. When she was in the first grade, she came home one day and kept looking at me kind of weird, you know. And finally I said, Debbie, what are you thinking? Why are you looking at me so funny? She says, well, Mom, you know that song you sing to us all the time? And I said, yes. She said, well, my teacher sang it today, and it sounded pretty. Thanks, Debbie, for that. And I was self-conscious about my singing for about 2 minutes, and I thought, oh, well, they need to learn these little songs, so I went on with it. But I read later that if you cannot stay on key, you shouldn't sing to them because they'll not understand what perfect pitch is. So I did a lot of things wrong raising my darling little children. Anyway, when she got into high school, I began to realize how focused Debbie was. We've talked a little bit about the plays that she started and put on every week. And Debbie was so focused. She and Jenny talked about it, how Debbie all day long wanted to practice those plays. And the other kids were off playing, and they didn't want to be tied down to that all day, but they all wanted to be in the play. Anyway, she was just so focused, and she still is. Whatever project or anything she does, she sticks right to it until it's done. She's the one that designed or gathered all of the costumes that they wore in the plays. She picked out the music. She was just totally creative with all of it. And she organized the neighbor kids to be in the plays. And even some of her cousins, Neil and Carrie Dee's little girls, came and were in the plays too. And they all loved it. They just didn't like her being so directive. But she was the director. She's supposed to be that way. Anyway, when she got older in high school, she got a job as a seamstress. And I'm not sure how that worked, but I believe that she worked for the lady who had the contract for the department stores in town. And when people would buy clothing, if they needed to be shortened or let out or taken in or whatever, she would give Debbie a certain amount of clothing. Debbie would come in the door at night, go straight up the stairs to her sewing machine and sew until dinner time. Very stick-to-itiveness, a lot of stick-to-itiveness. So she did that. She had a lot of friends in high school, and I think she enjoyed high school, didn't you, Debbie? Anyway, I know that she had several jobs after high school. One was at the Boy Scout office. One was at Montgomery Ward, where she took care of the lunch counter certain hours of the day. And I think she told me the employees called her Miss Clean or Little Miss Clean or something, because unlike the other girls that worked in there, if she wasn't waiting on someone, she was cleaning. She's the one that moved stuff and cleaned behind it, which some of it hadn't been done for a long time. So she just had this love of cleaning. And I think it was her, it might have been one of the other girls, when they were 7, 8, 9, somewhere in there. I always gave them jobs to do. And I think it was Debbie. I told her to clean the bathroom. And she didn't do it very well. And I made her do it over, and she ended up doing it 7 times. So I was kind of strict, I guess. Anyway, she loved to clean, and that showed up early on. Now, I've got her in high school.
Well, do you want me to tell you what you missed
Yes.
on here? You have 2 or 3 swallowed the pins.
Oh, she swallowed a pin, that's right. She was only a couple of years old, and she and the kids were at Doyle's parents being babysat, being tended, and she swallowed this pin. And Virgie insisted that Debbie stay there for a few days and let Virgie locate that pin and get it. And so, and you know, Jenny was just a tiny baby, and Mark and Lori were little kids. And Virgie really insisted, so we let her stay there a few days until she passed the pin. And then she came home again. What else did I miss?
You just said she was a good, quiet, calm baby.
Oh, yeah.
And then you just, I think this might go in high school because you have piano.
Oh, yes. Debbie picked up tunes and played them on the piano. She could pick out little tunes on the piano, which I could never do that on the piano, and I don't know if any of the other kids did that. Anyway, so I gave her and Lori, we let them take piano lessons. We took them out to Fort Hall to a lady. And I told them that I was not going to make them practice, that if they wanted to learn the piano, they could have the lessons and learn to play the piano. But if they didn't want to play it, if they wanted to quit, they could quit any time. Because I felt like it should be their idea, not mine, which I now regret. I wish I'd made them stay in piano and learn it. I think I picked the wrong teacher, though. She was very classical music minded, and so it was all scales and all that. I think if she'd started them out with some fun little tunes, but who knows, I don't know. Anyway, they played the piano for a while, but they didn't stay with it.
Boat ski.
Pardon?
Boat ski.
Oh, yes, somewhere in there, when they were in high school, we bought a boat. A 19-foot Bayliner boat. It was a slick little neat boat. And we would go boating out at Palisades and out at the American Falls Reservoir. And the kids all learned to water ski. And Debbie, when she water skied, she'd go clear around the lake hanging on and squealing, woo, woo. She loved the water. She was about the only one that would get in the lake and swim. Most of the rest of them didn't. They just liked to water ski. She didn't go as much as Jenny did. Jenny went with Kathy Williams and her family a lot and skied. When Debbie was in high school, she got a boyfriend, Kevin, and he was a nice boy, or he seemed like a nice boy. And they went together a couple of years, I think. And he was at our house a lot, and he seemed like a good kid. Anyway, I think he went on a mission, and she was writing to him. And she went to a young adult thing one night after she was out of high school. And she was on the program. She had to give a talk or something. And this young man was in the audience, and he watched her. And I guess after the talk, he asked her out on a date. And she went out with him, and when they got a little bit acquainted, she says, "Oh, Mom, he just smells like Dad," because he was a carpenter and was building houses with his brother and worked with the wood, so he smelled like sawdust. And she just felt so secure and safe with him. And she wrote to Kevin and said, "I'm sorry, dear John." Anyway, she and Larry got married later on, and he is a wonderful man. I always think if there's saints on earth, he's one of them. All my son-in-laws are just wonderful, outstanding guys. I love them like I love my own kids. They're great. And my daughter-in-laws, too. All my children were good choosers. So, where am I now?
You just, the next thing is motherhood.
Oh, okay. She started having a family. First Holly, who is here now. Amy, David, Jan, Dallin, and Ben. And Ben is getting married the day after tomorrow. Can't believe it. To me, seems like a little boy still. But he's met a girl on his mission, and she seems like a wonderful girl. So that's the last one of her children to get married. And so now we'll watch all the babies come. I bet she'll have as many grandchildren as me or more. Lori too. They'll both have big families. So Larry built houses, and Debbie was a stay-at-home mom. They went on a weekend trip or something and went to Utah and stayed at the Anniversary Inn. And that fired Larry's imagination. He wanted to start a theme hotel like the Anniversary Inn is. And so they came home, and he bought the old apartment building on East Center. And slowly, gradually, they turned it into an inn with 14 theme rooms. And it's just a wonderful place. People love it. And Debbie painted a lot of the murals that are on the walls, clear up on the ceiling. Trees, flowers, birds, tigers, monkeys. Not any monkeys, I don't think.
No, in the jungle.
In the jungle there's one, but I think Ann painted it.
I think you're right. I think Ann did paint it.
But, you know, Debbie always had this talent with painting. She painted that picture on the wall above my kitchen table. And this gave her a chance to do these big murals and big things.
And all the bedspreads.
And she made all of the bedspreads, all of bedding. I forgot about that. All the pillows. I think when she made my set, my bedroom is beautiful because of what she did. I think she said it was the 28th or 9th set she had made. At first, when she made drapes, Larry had to measure it all out and do that part of it because she is a right-brained lady, that's the right brain, not a left-brained lady. But now I think she does it on her own. And then, which came first, Destinations or Mystique?
Destinations.
Destinations, okay. A place in Idaho Falls is people copied what Debbie and Larry had done. I mean, the rooms are very different. But the idea, just like Larry and Debbie got their idea from the Anniversary Inn, this couple got it from Debbie and Larry's Inn. And so then they went bankrupt a couple of years after they opened. And Larry and Debbie bought it. So now they have the 2 theme hotels. And they work 12, 14 hours a day. It's wonderful to own your own business. But if you do, remember you're going to work with way longer hours than you would ever work on a regular job. And then in Pocatello, the Mystique Theater was for sale. And Larry and Debbie bought that. And, you know, when they put on musicals, they had to have backdrops, scenery. So Debbie painted these backdrops. Some of them are like 30 feet long and 15 feet high, and they were beautiful. And they owned the place for, I think, 3 years. And they brought it out of a bad reputation into a good reputation. They brought it out of bankruptcy into a paying venue. They cleaned the place up, improved it. It was a beautiful place to begin with, but there were a lot of paint chips and things that had happened. He wants out. Anyway, they were successful with that. Their goal was to buy it, bring it up to par, and sell it. And that took them 3 years, and they did that. So we hope that the new owners will do well with it. You look at the list, and I'll go let him out real quick. Okay, come on. You want to go out?
Okay, you have devout and I'm not sure what that word is.
Debbie and Lori stayed with the church when Doyle and I quit. And they've both just developed a deep testimony, and they're both very devout. I'm really proud of those two. Proud of all my kids. I put a word in there you can't read.
Yeah. Not sure what it
Doesn't
says.
surprise me. I can't read any of them.
And then you have takes care of me.
What?
Takes care of you.
Oh, Since Grandpa died, I couldn't even live in this house if they didn't take such good care of me. Larry does the hoses, the water, anything that happens in the middle of the week or something, he's right here if I need him. And Debbie does everything from cutting my hair to keeping me straight, and especially now since my eyes have kind of gone bad, she really takes care of me. You know, I can't see spots on my shirt if I get food spots or something. I can't see the back of my hair to comb it. I can't, there's just so many little things that I can't do. And she does not come up here and comb my hair every day. I do it by feel and hope that it looks all right. But they're just wonderful people, and they've been such good help to me. You know, I told you some of the adventures when I told Lori's story that they did. And Jenny, when I tell hers, it's kind of like Shirley and I, anything we did, it was together, and so it was an adventure together. And it's kind of that way with the family. Debbie got along good with her sisters and brothers. Mark, the oldest boy, teased her, and I think he made her kind of self-conscious because he teased her, you know, how big brothers are about anything. And so she had a hard time getting over that. The other bad thing that happened to those kids, Mark, Debbie, and Lori, is that when I told you when Debbie was born, I had to stay in bed a whole month. When Jenny was born, the kids stayed in Pocatello with Virgie and Roy for a whole month while I was waiting to have her. They had figured out my time wrong, and they thought I was going to have it any minute, so they took the kids home and to Pocatello, and it was a whole month before I had the baby. I was a basket case by the time I had Jenny. And Debbie and Lori and Mark, I know, suffered from being away from Mom and Dad. Roy and Virgie were good to them. They loved those kids. They wanted them all the time. But I think it was really hard on the kids to be left like that, because little kids don't understand what's going on.
I think the word is laughter. Is that ring a bell?
Yeah.
Okay.
Debbie loves a good laugh. Loves a good laugh. And she's so hearty in her laugh. She just really ha-has. And Doyle was kind of that way too. Grandpa was that way too. She and Jenny get together, as you saw last week, and it's a constant laugh. They are funny together. Oh, and Debbie has gone into all of this stuff about color, what clothing you should wear. I don't know, a lot. Know yourself. What is it? Dress for the truth or something.
Yeah,
know your own truth. And so Jenny and I, when we go shopping, we think, ooh, is this what we're supposed to be wearing? So we like to go with Debbie, because she'll say, okay, these are for you're a one, you can wear these, and it's fun. It's fun. She's brought a lot of new dimensions into our lives. Our only regret is that Lori and Dale live so far away, and Doug and Melanie. And Mark, his family lives in Nampa, so we can't get together real often. But I want to say something about, I don't know what it's about me, I guess. I just am to the point that I can't read, I can't see, I can't, and I have wonderful things that help me do these things. But anyway, I didn't send out any Christmas cards last year, and I think this year I'll try it again. It's just hard. But anyway, I quit giving Christmas gifts a long time ago. Instead, I do the family reunion. I donate some money to the family reunion. And so we didn't have a real reunion this year because of all those wonderful weddings. So next year I'm hoping that we can have a really good reunion. we want your input. Where would you like to have it? What would you like to do at the reunion, and so on. Manti is out now since they moved back to Idaho Falls. But, you know, we could go somewhere maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I'm willing to donate more money this year because we didn't have it last year. So come up with some good ideas and we'll try to plan a really good reunion.
Okay.
And I kind of wanted to wind this up since Thanksgiving is Thursday, talking a little bit about how thankful I am for my life and my family, the church. So glad we got active again in the church. It really adds a dimension of joy to your life that you don't have without it. I'm thankful for all of the modern inventions. I asked my mother one day, Mom, remembers going places in the horse and buggy. In fact, one time her father and her came home, and the farm, there were all these poplars in front of their farm and big trees, and they pulled up in the buggy, and it was raining and thunder and lightning, and Grandpa said, "Run for the house, Louise." And she jumped out of the buggy and ran up, and he jumped and went around and started up just as lightning hit one of those poplars, and it fell over and killed the horse and smashed the buggy. So she came that close to death with that. Anyway, I'm thankful she didn't die because I wouldn't be here. Otherwise, neither would any of you. Maybe you'd have had a better, I don't know. Anyway, I asked her one day what she thought was the best invention during her lifetime, from buggies to cars to no phone to a phone and so on. And she thought about it and she said, you know, the very best thing is that thermostat on the wall. If I want more heat, I just walk over and go like that and I get more heat. I don't have to go out and chop the wood. I don't have to build a fire in the stove. I don't have to tend the fire day and night. I just turn up that thermostat and I've got heat. So that made me wonder what I appreciate most. And you know, it is true. President Uchtdorf gave a talk and said that after a while we'd take things for granted, like the computer. He got to where he was taking it for granted. But I've got some new things in my life that I'm not taking for granted yet. And one of them is the Merlin enlarger, and it's in my office, and it looks like a computer with a screen, but it's an enlarger. So I can put like that list I wrote under it, and I can read it. I can read the newspaper. I can bring my mail in the house and open it and read it. I was at the point where I was going to have Debbie and Larry, I always pick on them, to come and do my newspaper. When I said how much they helped me, I didn't say it, but Robert and Jenny are second in line with that. Robert pretty much takes care of all of the electrical stuff, and Jenny cuts my toenails, and I can't see them to cut them. I don't want to cut a toe off, so she does my toenails. But anyway, I'm really thankful for that Merlin because it's allowed me to go ahead and be independent reading my mail and so on. The other thing I dearly love that I just got lately is this little gadget, and both of these items are for the Commission of the Blind, and this is a cassette player, and it has nice big buttons so I can see it, and then they send me books on tapes, and I'll pull this one out. It's just a cassette. This one is from the church. They put me in the Idaho book thing and also Utah LDS. And so this one is 7 Miracles That Made America, or Let America Happen, or something. It's so fascinating. But, you know, I was such a reader. I read constantly and all the time. And I haven't been able to read. The last book I read was Train to Potevka, and it was a couple of years ago. Can't read them. So this has given me back my reading. I love it. and I can pack it around the house and put it in the room I'm working in and just listen to it. So that's one of the things I'm so thankful though. All of this stuff is nice, but the thing I'm most grateful and thankful for is no surprise, my family. I love every one of you dearly. I just love you. And I have a new friend, Dr. Lloyd Call, and he takes me places like tonight when this is finished. He's going to come and get me, take me to his house and fix my dinner. So we have a lot of fun together, and it's kind of nice having somebody your own age that understands. Well, he's 11 years older. He'll be 96 in February, but he's a good man, and we enjoy each other a lot. So I'm thankful, and I hope that you're all thankful. We all need to have that attitude of gratitude. You know, if you start building up expectations, sometimes your expectations are unrealistic. But if you get good, sensible expectations, you'll be a happier person. Unmet expectations are one of the sources of unhappiness. Like you're going to have a wonderful wedding and something goes wrong, then you're all sad and unhappy. You have to make that list of what you need to do, and the last item on the list has to be other, because sometimes someone else has an idea of what you should be doing and might steer you a little differently than what you planned. So be grateful for everything. Love you all. Happy Thanksgiving. Holly's going to put some pictures on of Debbie, so watch for them.